Hello, welcome to a 5 years reflection video. It might be a long one. I have no idea how long this will take. So if you don't like long rambling video with personal information, TMI, then this might not be for you. Otherwise, stick around. It's been 5 years. 5 years ago, in November of 2012, is when I loaded my first video on YouTube. I'm not sure when I will load this video, but hopefully I will load it by Thanksgiving. Okay, hopefully, depend on the schedule. But given it's 5 years, I figure it'd be good to give a little backstory. You know, a lot of time on YouTube, most of us don't really know anybody really well. Okay, not that it matters, because for some people they don't really want to know. Okay, for some people the less the better. They just prefer to know what book you like, or what book you bought. That's good enough. They don't care to know the rest. And for some people, you know, they like someone very quickly. You know, I am not the type that make friends very quick with anybody, even when I was young. So it's just not in my personality to be best buds with anybody just because they collect the same thing. You know, a lot of my close friends don't like the same thing I do. They might collect comic books, but certainly not the same title. Even my very first friend in 1981 that collected comic books, he was mostly DC. The only Marvel book that he was collecting for the most part was Doctor Strange, and I'm just like, that makes no sense. This stuff is so weird, but we got along great because we share a love for comic books. Same thing with sports. I don't have that many close friends that are still a fan. In many ways, yippee! Trust me, it's nothing against still a fan, but you know, I'm never the type to, you know, say, oh, if we like the same music, you're my friend. If you like the same sport team, we can be best bud. That's not how I pick and choose friend. For some people, that's the way it is, but for me, it's not. So this video might be cool for some people. It might not be cool for some people. TMI, right? But I figure with this video and the 5-year anniversary, it's a good way to give a little background on how I even got the camera. Okay, because you don't know, you may have heard the same story about how I shoot my first video, loaded on YouTube 5 years ago, or you know. But trust me, getting that camera was a big sea change in my life, in this family. Okay, it's a huge event in my life and this family, and I can give you the backstory. I met my wife and moved down here in, I moved down here in 2004 as far as Sarasota, Florida, and married her in 2005. I can tell you, her family detests me with a passion. And it was never an easy situation for me to deal with her family, and things got worse and worse as you know, we got married in August of 2005, and they didn't like me before. They liked me even less as time passed, and you know, things went downhill real fast in the fall of 2006 when we announced that we are expecting a baby. We were thrilled. They were not. Okay, and without go into too much detail, TMI, I can tell you the chain of event that happened shortly after that was extremely difficult for us to deal with, both financially and mentally. You know, things went south, but you know, by early 2007 is when things really heat up to the point of no return. And I can tell you the financial suffering that we had to deal with, it was on my wife, but you know, I'm married to her, so I had to deal with the financial aspect. And just to give you context of how bad things were, because like I said, the financial aspect is actually a lot less than the mental warfare that unleashed on us. In hindsight, the financial thing was a little thing, but as little as it was $500,000. Yes, $500,000. So just think of what the mental torture and pain that inflict on us is much worse. Okay, it was extremely difficult, and the worst part was, you know, everything came into this point right around my wife's 8th month pregnancy with Anthony. You know, this huge betrayal of her family, the ultimatum that was unleashed on her, divorce me, and they will, you know, basically give back what they took. Needless to say, she stuck around with me, and it was it's tough to look back into that time and understand how she and I dealt with it. I just remember, you know, basically trying to be the calmer one in the whole situation. Given that she's 8 months pregnant, I keep telling her on a daily basis, do not worry. Whatever financial burden is thrust upon us, I will take care of that. You just make sure that you have a healthy delivery, okay? Because Anthony's are weeks away, and that is the most important thing. And that's how we weather through the storm, you know. But through that mess, it left a very deep scar on my wife. Okay, the mental scar on my wife was, how should I put it? It was, you know, my wife went into deep depression because of the betrayal of her family, all the stuff that happened with her, and she was a mental mess. I can tell you, you know, when Anthony was born, I learned quickly to be a father because I didn't have a choice. My wife was just not able to do anything. I was the one that wakes up 2 or 3 times at night to feed him, change the diaper. She couldn't do any. The mental state that she was in at the time was, everything was a fog. Okay, everything was a fog. She was, you know, for those that have dealt with depression, you know what it's like. It's a lot of denial, a lot of, you know, trust me, I went through a lot of begging, like begging her to talk to me and trying to do the best I can. But at the end of the day, I've channeled my energy toward Anthony, you know, because I didn't know how to handle the situation. You know, mind you, that in 2007, but Anthony was born in April of 2007, and shortly after that, we have the financial crisis, right? And for those that understand my business, the business was booming, okay, booming. Millions of revenue was going in, and I remember Thanksgiving of 2007, I literally went out there and hired 3 people right here in Sarasota to help me run the business, because I had my hand full with the baby, and that's where my focus would have to be. I literally decided at that moment that I need to step away from the business, relinquish responsibility, teach as many people as I can how to take over the business, and then focus on being a dad. And I regret nothing. It was the most rewarding time of my life, as well as the most difficult time of my life. One of the most difficult time, because I love it. I love, being with Anthony 24/7. He was a joy to be around, to hold, to carry everywhere. I take him to the beach every day, walk around, feel the breeze. But the situation at home was deteriorating on the day by day. My wife was basically a zombie, and then when she went back to work, that was her excuse to disappear, literally. You have to understand how bad the situation was. My wife works one red lights away from home. There's one red light. She's not even a half mile. The office is not even a half mile away. One red light between the office and the house. Through the first year, okay, well, through the entire time that Anthony was a baby, 6 months old, 9 months old, a year, she came home for lunch to visit him and I. Yes, once, okay, once. Trust me, when I said my wife disappeared, I'm not kidding. She literally disappeared. She would stay at the office until 7 or 8 o'clock at night. I would be calling, yelling, screaming, what the hell's going on? It's always an excuse. She found every excuse she can to not be home. Even on the weekend, she would disappear. I have to go to the office for work, and next thing you know, it's like 8 o'clock on a Saturday night. I would be screaming on the phone, yelling, begging at times. Trust me, not I yell every time. A lot of time I'm just begging. And this went on for 3 years. Okay, my wife missed everything. Okay, missed everything. First walk, first talk, first crawl, first everything. She was not around. On top of this mess that I had to deal with, in early 2008, I faced my own personal pain that affect me tremendously. My best friend, the best friend I had for most of my life, somebody that I met at work many years earlier in Boston. I worked with him and his wife. Wonderful couple, fantastic couple. And we stay in touch, even when I quit working and run my own business, I would still make a point to go into the city every week, sometimes twice a week, to have lunch with him in the office where he worked. He was an investment banker, and eventually he moved to New York, and he moved to New York when I moved to Florida. So it was one of those things where we are best friend in Boston. We can spend every day talking about everything: movie, sport, comic books, you name it. He collected comic books, but he was more into the Vertigo line, Swamp Thing, Hellblazer. He was the one that always nagged me like, "Oh, you should read this stuff," and I'm like, I'm not interested in buying the new stuff anymore. I'm just too busy, too lazy. Like to focus on buying back issue. But like I said, we don't have to share the same thing. Okay, we can be best friend and not share the same exact style of collecting or the same sport team. He's from Philadelphia. He loved the Eagles. I like the Steelers. You name it. But when I moved to Florida, you know, especially when Anthony was born, you know, I was wrapped up in my own family problem. He sent me a Facebook friend request in the summer of 2007, after Anthony was born, and congratulations. He has 2 kids. He has 2 young kids of his own, and you know, but you know, I was so busy. I remember seeing that Facebook friend request keep popping up, and I'm just like, I don't have time for this right now. I didn't want to be the one, you know, calling up and say, "Oh man, I'm in trouble. Oh, I can't deal with it. I'm going crazy," you know. So I'm just too busy to deal with that. So I kind of ignored it until around spring of 2000, like it's March of 2008. Finally, I'm just like, oh, let's join Facebook and accept his request. So I did that, and within an hour from that, I got a message from his wife. "Nick, you know, we're so sorry. We've been out of touch for the past 8 months, but Rob passed away in February." I couldn't believe it. I remember sobbing for days. Oh my God, I blame myself. I hated myself for, you know, falling out of touch with him. I can't believe that I ignored his friend's request. Oh my God, I hated myself. You know, and she kept a beautiful blog of what happened, you know, from the very first time that he found out he had brain cancer. He literally had brain cancer, found out he had brain cancer in October of 2007. And things deteriorated so fast, where at first he was just like having problem with vision, lost balance here and there. By Christmas of 2007, he's blind. His vision is gone. His speech is very slurred. He can no longer walk, can no longer feed himself. He was bedridden. Oh, so she led me to the blog that she kept, and I read that blog 3 times, cries my eyes out. I try not to get too emotional talking about it, but 10 years later, and I'm still choked up thinking about it. But you know, he literally hung on February 14th. His birthday is February 14th. So on February 14th, his 2 young children sang happy birthday to him in bed. The doctor told her, I mean, the last 2 weeks of his life was painful to read. His wife wrote beautifully, and you know, with pictures and video clips and everything, and he hung on to hear his 2 young child sing happy birthday on Valentine's Day. His birthday is on Valentine's Day, and he passed away the next day. The doctor predicted him to die like at least a week earlier because his whole body had shut down. Okay, he basically just had tubes. He was like, he's basically no sound, but so that event set me reeling even worse than what has already is going on in my life, right? So tough time, and one of the things that happened was, by the summer of 2008, so sure, my wife is going through a great deep depression, and here I am having some mental turmoil on my own. And then my wife, in the late summer of 2008, she just said, why don't you go back to doing something you enjoy, so that you can feel better and hopefully get over this loss of Rob, and she said, why don't you go back to comic books? You have thousands of them in the office, boxes and boxes, do something with them. So that's how I returned to the hobby. I looked up and I was surprised to find that CGC is right here in Sarasota. I submit my first batch in August of 2008. I joined the CGC forum, and that's how I returned to the hobby. But as far as the problem that I had with my wife and the family and the depression, that was getting worse and worse and worse and worse. Okay, I can tell you, by 2011, it was a nightmare to deal with because it's I didn't know what to do. My wife was not willing to accept any kind of suggestion that she need to get help, that there's any problem. It was just bizarre in hindsight if you look at what's going on, but we've argued, fought many times, and by that point, by 2011, the word divorce came out often, because by that point I felt that it was almost easier for me to get a divorce, take care of Anthony as a single father, because I was the single father the last 3.5-4 years, and it was easier to not have to deal with her and have the arguments on a daily basis on why she's not around, why she's not being helpful, why she's a zombie. Might as well get a divorce and then take care of Anthony and move back to Boston, where I have families to help me out, right? That was my train of thoughts. I'm just like, why would I want to deal with this nightmare? Nobody here to help me. She's not helping. But luckily, somehow something clicked, and she decided to get help. That was a big change, okay, a big sea change in her. At the same time, we decided that maybe we need a fresh start, so we bought this house. So we're buying this house, moving out of the old house, having a fresh start. She's going to see a psychiatrist once a week. Sure, I had to make a lot of change myself in order to be supportive, instead of always be the one nagging. And it took a while. This did not happen overnight. It took everything started near the end of 2011, where we basically said, we gotta stop this. This can no longer work. Anthony is getting old enough. He starts to hear the argument, and I told her, we got to stop. We cannot be fighting on a weekly basis, sometimes nightly basis, as far as arguing. Anthony is getting older. I don't want him to be exposed to this nonsense. Anthony starts to understand that mommy is never around. This is madness. And it took a long time. It took a good almost a year. And by by late October of 2012 was when things really turned. So it took, almost a year later where things turned, where I remember, thinking to myself, ooh, Christmas, my birthday is coming up, time to self-gift myself something. And I thought for the first time since Anthony was born that I would like to capture the special moment for this family. So, okay, that's how things has went before. I did not have any video clip of Anthony when he was a baby, anything, all the way up until that point. I'm just like, for the first time in my brain, I feel like, I would like to capture the special moments with the family, whether Anthony's in school, first grade, or whatever. I want to have these memories because it's something worth saving and capturing. So that's a huge thing for me to do, and that's why I bought the camera. Okay, buying the camera for my birthday in November of 2012 has nothing to do with, oh, let's buy the camera so I can make video to be on YouTube. Nothing from the truth, okay? Nothing further from the truth. It was always, for the family. And as crazy as you think of the video that I made for this channel about comic books, I made a lot of personal videos. I share some of those to other YouTubers. I don't share all of them. It's not like an open book. People don't need to know everything. But it's for me. It's for Anthony. For later. Should I not be around 30, 40 years from now? Who knows what the next generation will be? Anthony's kids, grandkid. Who knows? I like to save a piece of dad, granddad for the future. But that was why the camera was bought, and that's how it eventually was used to make some video for YouTube. And it's been a fun 5 years. It's not, I'm retired, okay? After things turn around in 2012, could I go back full time? Sure. But I decided that, I have everything I wanted. I have a wonderful son. I have a family that I'm happy about, and I don't need to go back to work. And that's, so when it comes down to making a lot of videos, sure, I have a lot of free time. I don't go to work. I don't. And plus, making a 10 minutes video, how long does that take, right? I mean, I enjoy the hobby. I can talk about the hobby all day long. So for me to sit down and make a 10-minute video about whatever topics I have been making is not work. Okay, I have said this before. If it is work to make a video to be on YouTube, hell no would I do it. I only do it for pure fun. Okay, I'm not on YouTube to be famous. I'm not on YouTube to show off. I'm not on YouTube to be popular. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if there's 2,000 subscribers or 200. Who cares? I don't care. I'm past the point of giving a damn. I have been on YouTube long enough, and for those that have been on YouTube long enough, there's always going to be haters. Okay, there's always going to be people thumbsing down your video for whatever reason. I don't care. And who knows what the next 5 years is going to be. I don't see myself leaving YouTube or leaving the hobby 5 years from now. Do I see myself leaving the hobby in 10 years? That's a different story. 5 years, no. I would say that next year, 2018, would be the last hooray as far as me buying a lot of stuff. Okay, the more you buy, the more time you gotta put in to sell. Okay, so I know that, so I'm not gonna go crazy. And I bought a lot this year. Okay, I bought a lot more than I did the previous year. So somehow that trend is gonna have to stop, because selling is a pain in the butt. Okay, it's not, it's work. Okay, when it comes down to work, making video is not work, buying is not work, grading is not really work, selling is work. And and that's not fun. Even when I make a profit, it's still a little hassle, and it is work. Okay, so we'll see what the next 5 year hold. I don't see myself changing as far as how much I like the hobby. Just because I don't want to buy a lot does not mean I don't love the hobby. It's for some people, loving the hobby is about buying. Okay, if that's what make you happy. For me, it's not about buying. I mean, sure, I buy a lot, but if you follow this channel long enough, there are probably a dozen haul videos out of 1,000. So I don't show everything I buy. I don't need to. For some people, it's all about the haul. Okay, this channel is nothing about the haul. I show some haul here and there, but there's enough videos on the queue for me to load to show you every little package that came in, right? And that's it. I appreciate the people that I have befriended with on YouTube, whether it's an acquaintance, people that enjoy the video. You don't need to be a friend or best bud to enjoy my video or the channel. If you enjoy the video, enjoy the channel, cool. I hope you have fun with the hobby regardless. But ultimately, hopefully this video give you some more insight in who I am. But before I go, one of the things that helped my wife get over, her mental state is, she read a lot of books and bought a lot of books and inspirational things, and I read them too. And I get this little book here. I think she bought this recently. I just grabbed it from her desk and thumbed through it, and I thought it was a good read. Together is Better is the title of this book, and I will end this video with this little quote that I thought was fitting. We achieve more when we chase the dream instead of the competition. Think about that, okay? Chase your dream. I chase mine. I don't care what other people have. Not even when I have nothing. And it turns out pretty well. So, think about it, okay? We achieve more when we chase the dream instead of the competition. Yes, I'm not a fool. I'm not naive to know that for some people, this hobby is about a contest. Who has the bigger swinging you-know-what, right? But for most people, I think you will enjoy the hobby more if you don't worry about the competition. That's not to say that there's anything wrong if you look at this hobby as a contest, okay? We all enjoy the hobby in many different ways, okay? I can only say it for myself, and whenever I talk to anyone that feel as if like somehow they are losing the contest, I bring that point up as far as this is a lifelong hobby. It's a marathon. This is not a 100-yard dash. This is not a sprint race of any sort. There is no prize, as far as I'm concerned, to finish first. Okay, for some people, who knows? Who knows what it is? Okay, what drives someone to compete is very different from one to the other. Okay, it's very different. Who knows what pleases somebody else? We all have goals. We should have goals and dreams and aspiration to do, that's what life is about. Set your goals and achieve it, right? I got my goal. I want to retire when I'm 50. One of the things that I wish I kept around was, I'm sure some of you may have heard that, Jim Carrey, the actor, when before he was famous, he actually, I think, wrote down on a piece of paper and put in his wallet that he wanted to earn $10 million, and then eventually he did once he become a famous movie star. I wrote down something similar to that, but not like that. My first job out of college was in 1989, okay, and it was $19,000 a year. You don't need to know that even in 1989, 19,000 is not a lot of money in Boston. It's dirt poor. It's no way to live in Boston with $19,000 a year, even in 1989. That's why I had 4 roommates. But I remember, at that point, at that low point, I was 22 years old, making 19,000. I set out a goal, and I wrote it down. I said, I want to make my age by the time I'm 25. Basically, I was like, I want to make 25,000 when I'm 25. I want to double my age when I'm 30. That means that I want to make 60,000 when I'm 30. I want to triple my age when I'm 40, 120K, and then I want to make 5 times my age by the time I'm 40. I wrote down all these, steps that I want to achieve at the age of 22, and I was able to obtain and exceed those goals along the way. And so who knows what pleases each one of us, right? I had a goal that I want to retire by the time I'm 50. I did that. Can I still work and make more money and live in a bigger mansion, drive a fancier car? I don't want that. Okay, I like my life. I enjoy my life as is. Okay, I don't need a bigger house or fancier car. So retirement at this age is just dandy for me. Okay, and so ultimately, I have a lot of free time. That's why I make a lot of videos. As far as what's I plan for the next 5 years, pretty much the same stuff. Sure, I have ideas for new topic that I like to talk about, but for me, it's about feeling the inspiration to do something. YouTube has always been a fun outlet of the hobby. If I don't feel like I'm gonna have fun making a video about a certain topic, I wouldn't do it. Because if it's not fun, I wouldn't do it. This is not a job. It shouldn't be a chore to set up the camera and try to come up with an idea or a topic. So it's occasionally people would new YouTubers that want to jump into the community would ask me to look at their videos, to look at what they're doing, to see if it's good. And In all honesty, it's good if you have passion. Okay, that's how I look at it. If you enjoy what you're doing, if you enjoy the hobby, somehow that will come through video. Even if you don't say that, you don't need to say, God, I love this hobby so much, in order to declare that you love the hobby in every video. But I think often, if you love and have a passion for the hobby, it will come through in the video. That's just my guess. Okay, who knows? For all I know, hey, I've been on YouTube long enough to know that I got plenty of thumbs down. I got hundreds of people that unsub me because who knows why. They find me boring, stupid, annoying. Who knows? Who cares? Okay, I cannot control what other people think about me, and that's how I kind of try to relay the message is, if you want to make videos for the community, go for it. But first, ultimately, you have to please yourself as far as, you know, putting the stuff out there. You know, when I make a video, it's often about me having fun, pleasing myself. And the other advice I have would be, don't worry about doing something that somebody has done before. Okay, nobody have any claims on any ideas. You know, I have said this many times. If you like the topic I talked about, go for it. It doesn't have to be a formal tag. Okay, one of my longest running series of this video came from me watching a video by what I would consider first generation of comic YouTubers. You know, I consider myself the second generation, but the first generation, you have, like, you know, Scott, you know, even like, you know, Sleepy Reader, Howler Mouse. There's a whole bunch. Okay, I consider myself the second wave. And you know, one of the longest running video I have is, you know, why a comic book so addictive, and I got the idea to start that videos from watching a video by Sleepy Reader. I even mentioned that in the very first why a comic book so addictive. And you know, not that I plan to make, you know, 30 or 40 or 50 videos of that series after, but that's just the way things turn out. And you know, if anyone see what I do and enjoy the type of videos that I do and want to do something similar, go for it. It might be similar topics, but it is your point of view, right? That's what every tag video is, right? The tag video is the same topic with your own take on whatever topic it is that people are tagging. So, you know, whenever someone's new to the community and, you know, ask me like, oh, what kind of video should I do, or should I do a contest, should I do this, should I do that, as I have advised many people that ask me, you can do whatever you want. It's your channel. Okay, nobody say that you have to do a contest. If you don't feel like doing a contest, don't do it. You don't have to. You know, and don't feel like you're obligated. Okay, if you want to do a contest to have fun, to make friends, go for it. Okay, but don't feel like it's some kind of obligation. Okay, it's YouTube is supposed to be fun. If it turns into some kind of place where, you know, you're obligated to do certain things to fit in, hell no. Okay, the one thing about this channel, my channel, it's my channel, right? I do whatever I want. You know, I don't really care what other people do. If they're happy with their hobby, that's all that matters. I'm happy with my hobby. So I can't say enough about, collecting is about individualism. Okay, so the sooner you can figure it out, for the new collector, the sooner you can figure out what makes you happy, the better off you will be. Okay, and anyhow, thanks for watching. I appreciate, trust me, I appreciate everyone that have watched and commented and enjoy all the videos over the years. Yes, I know not everyone watch everything. It's not for everyone. Hey, it's okay. Okay, whether you enjoy only one type of video on this channel, like the haul videos, and skip the rest, that's fine too. There's no law that said you have to watch everything I put out there, right? Hell, I don't watch every videos of everyone. Who has the time? Ultimately, I am eternally grateful to have a wonderful family, because I think we didn't give up. It wasn't easy, but we worked it out. And thanks for watching. Happy Thanksgiving.